shot to death. We know where it happened, at Bravo's Laval home. We know when it happened, early this morning. What we don't know is why it happened. Herb Luft reports.
Whoever shot Dino Bravo wanted him dead. The killer or killers fired at least 17 bullets from two separate guns, hitting the 44-year-old Bravo several times in the head and upper body. More bullets ricocheted around the room, one hitting a front window of the home on Place Michel Gamelin in the Vimo district of Laval. About 12:20 this morning, Bravo's wife returned home with her 6-year-old daughter and found her husband's body slumped in a chair in front of the living room television.
Dino Bravo!
Dino Bravo wrestled for years, working his way up to international champion. He last wrestled as a star with the World Wrestling Federation, but retired a few months ago. Bravo, whose real name was Adolfo Bresciano, fought regularly with wrestlers managed by Eddie the Brain Creechman. To people in the area, Dino Bravo was not just a wrestler, but a quiet neighbor and family man, one they talked to frequently, but a man they did not know well. Police say there were no signs of a break-in, no signs of robbery, no signs of a struggle. They say Dino Bravo had an old criminal record for weapons, theft, and other charges, but they have no clue yet who might have murdered Dino Bravo or why. Herb Luft, Pulse News, Laval.
Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to take a second to remind you, please hit that subscribe button, and if you like what we're doing and want to support the channel, you can do that via Cash App at American Made Channel. Now, let's jump into the video.
The 1970s and 80s were the golden age of professional wrestling, and some would say the same of organized crime. It was during this time that Adolfo Bresciano, better known as Dino Bravo, would rise through the wrestling ranks and end up in Vince McMahon's WWF.
Then once and for all, the whole world will know that I am the bona fide world's strongest man.
Dino Bravo, the Canadian strongman, would have some success, working matches with many top wrestlers like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, The Ultimate Warrior, and Hulk Hogan. But by the early 90s, his wrestling career was on the decline, and in 1992, Dino Bravo was let go by the WWF. Now unemployed, Dino would have to figure out how he would continue to support his lavish lifestyle. Fellow Canadian wrestling legend Rick Martel said this in an interview about Dino Bravo. Quote, Dino liked the high life. He had sports Mercedes. He had a big home, you know, and suddenly wrestling was over. Dino couldn't be a 9-to-5 guy. He didn't have any business experience of any kind. Wrestling was his whole life, and back then, WWF was the only game in town, so if he couldn't do it for the WWF, what could he do? His uncle, by marriage, was head of the MAFIA in Montreal, and he was always saying, Dino, come work for me. His uncle was none other than the Godfather of Montreal and boss of the Cotroni Crime Family, Vic Cotroni.
Mr. Cotroni, it has been alleged that you are the head of the Montreal Mafia.
Oh, no. I'm the head to nobody. I'm head myself, myself.
Well, they've said that you are the Godfather of the Mafia.
Godfather, right?
It's not true?
No. Man just came here to see my sister.
The Cotroni family was part of the Bonanno crime family, one of the 5 families that dominated and controlled New York City. Through his uncle, Dino was put to use as an enforcer and debt collector, and eventually entered the cigarette trafficking business. The cigarette smugglers were, quote, big wrestling fans, and only wanted to do business with Dino Bravo. And with his popularity in the cigarette trafficking business, Dino ended up catching the attention of top cocaine dealers in Montreal. This would be the beginning of the end for Dino Bravo. According to former wrestler Rick Martel, Dino Bravo had some kind of agreement with dealers which involved him storing a $400,000 shipment of cocaine in a warehouse for 3 days. The person who was supposed to pick up the shipment would be busted by the police and the warehouse would be raided. This left Dino Bravo owing the 400 grand, with Dino blaming the dealers for not picking up the shipment immediately, and the dealers blaming Bravo. 1 week later, on March 17, 1993, Dino Bravo's wife and daughters came home to find Dino Bravo dead, shot a total of 17 times, lying in a pool of blood with no forced entry. The murder of Dino Bravo was the focus of an episode of Vice TV's Dark Side of the Ring. Vice TV was told by a newspaper reporter that the cocaine smugglers Bravo had worked with may have put the hit out on him, with help from biker gangs, with some speculation going right back to the Italian Mafia. The theories may vary, but 30 years later, Dino Bravo's murder remains unsolved.